Hello, James. Received your steering gearbox and thought you'd like to see the teardown and the evaluation. First of all, I'm going to show you that whoever was in here last didn't read the shop manual. Let's see if I can get a picture of this. What we're going to do is look right here. Let's see, I need to turn this around because of the glare. Alright, maybe that's a little bit better. Anyway, the book says you screw this down and then screw it down 3 to 4 millimeters. And I have a note there that says 2 millimeters on old springs, but 3 to 4 millimeters. And here's 4 millimeters on the scale, and you can see how this is crunched down way too much, even for an old spring. It's crunched down way too much. So it's putting too much pressure on the sector shaft and making it feel like it's tighter, but it's actually just binding the shaft right down here. Just binding this shaft. So let's take this thing apart. Let's see, get this where you can see better and I can work. How about that? Let's see what we got inside here. See if we got any grease inside this cup. It's the only time it gets lubed is when it has grease in it. And this one did not have any, had just a teeny bit of grease down inside there, not enough to do its job. It's oiled now because it's been sitting sideways and in transit. And that's why it's got oil on it, but it's actually supposed to be packed full of grease. So we'll take care of that on reassembly. All right. Yeah, let's see what we got here in the way of. See if you can see on camera here. Here closer. All right. Okay, let's get this up and out of here. Get some paper towels on the bottom. That's going to drip a lot of, drip some oil. You've already drained it, and then I drained it some more, but there will be some residual down here that never comes out. All right. Dripping down here. Let me get a pan. No, the paper towels will be okay. All right. Catch some of the drippage. What we're going to do is clean this off. Don't know anything about this till we get it out and cleaned up. What I want to do is just try and check our initial measurements on the shaft here. So this is going to take a moment while I go clean this off in this parts cleaner. I don't have a fancy photo editing or video editing feature, so this is all real time. So hang on a second while I clean this off. because what we want to do is check our actual clearance between the bushing and the shaft. Looks like this thing's been sitting around for a while. The corrosion on there. This is what it should look like down here, so I don't know why the difference. And we got to see if this is going to clean up down here. All right, so now we've got to clean out our bushings. I'm going to do the one underneath here. Also like to pop out the seal on the bottom. You see there's a whole bunch of sludge still left inside there. Lots of sludge. This does not look like somebody's changed the oil in a long time. That should be a nice golden amber color, as you can imagine. All right, so now I'm going to pop out this bottom seal, so we don't have that interfering. Get a size on it before it comes out. Looks like a 30, 42.8. Write that down. Get this popped out. I know this is kind of like paint drying, but I thought you might find it interesting. Seals out. Just clean up inside here. So we should have metal to metal contact with minimal oil taking up any clearances. Again, pretty dirty up inside there. Now then. Let's see what we got. On camera. Let's check our clearances. Gonna check our clearance, Clarence. Yeah, that's pretty loose right there. You can wiggle it that much, it's pretty loose. You can wiggle it back and forth. There should be, let's see, I'm trying to put this in perspective. The clearance is about 2/10,000ths of an inch. So a human hair is 2/1000ths of an inch thick, normal human hair, brunette. And you slice one of those into 10 sections. Those would be, each would be 1/10,000ths of an inch thick, and you need 2 of those 10 slices as the clearance between here and the bushings. And I can move this thing back and forth very easily, and you can see we have no resistance whatsoever. So that means that when you get a lot of torque and forces from your steering and your tires, and this is going to wiggle back and forth, and it's not going to give you very precise steering. And of course, with a recirculating ball and worm, this does not give you very precise steering. That's why they went to rack and pinion, because you've got right in the middle of here, you've got a dead spot, so that you can have a little slop at the perimeter of the steering wheel, like about an inch and a half. That'll go back and forth at the perimeter of the steering wheel. And that's your dead zone in here. And then once you get to the extremes, you get out of that little neutral zone in the middle. And it's not the same as the neutral zone in Star Trek, but it's and this is just way too loose and sloppy. So what we next need to do is find out how these journals are measuring out. And for that, I'm going to clean off my gloves, go get my micrometer, and we're going to measure those and see how good they are, because if they are off a thousandths or so, that makes it impossible to be able to get bushings and the shaft to work properly. So I'm going to take another minute while I go get my micrometer. This out, wipe it off, get our mic out here. Let's see what we got. We don't need an actual measurement as much as we need just a comparison. So let's move the camera over here. Sorry about that. My feet got in the way of the tripod. All right, what we're doing is getting a comparison of journal diameters. So what we're going to do is just going to do a comparison. Yep, okay, it wasn't on camera. You got a nice drag right there. And it goes, slips right on there. So no drag there. Drag here. Let's just double check. Yep. Boy, it's really close. Just having to force that on there. We might be able to get by with this shaft. We'll have to clean it up and see what we end up with when I get finished polishing this. Then we'll go from there. But it's real close. We might get by without having to get this machined. So that's the next step. Drive the worm out, get it disassembled, cleaned up, rebuild it, and go from there. So I thought you might enjoy watching this take place, even though it's just a step above watching paint dry. But thank you for same with the steering gearbox. I'll get you taken care of.